And it's going to be like, what are they going to learn in class? What will they be doing in class? How will it run? So that is going to be some incredible information for you. This is the group of kids. I've been excited about you being in school since you were in 5th grade. You have shown kindness, compassion, drive, everything about what you're doing has been absolutely great. And I'm so excited for you to be the leaders of our school. There can't be a better group that's doing that. All right. First off, I want to share some important information with you, and then I'm going to throw it over to music, and then we'll go to Mrs. Sheehan. If you have any questions during this presentation, we don't have the chat on, but you can email me at tom.grodick@bayschoolsohio.org, and we are going to go over those questions at the end of the presentation. Hopefully, we answer a lot of your questions during the presentation. Real quick, student supply pickup tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the main entrance doors. That's where the cafeteria is. That is where you are going to be picking up your supplies tomorrow. It's going to be a brown paper bag with your name on it. Very easy to pick up. If you cannot make it from 1 to 3 p.m. for any reason, you can come from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. We will also be here to pass those things out. So if you can't make it from 1 to 3, make it from 4 to 6. And sorry about that. Also, on Monday, student and teacher meet and greet from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. All classes will meet on Zoom, and they will be 15 minutes each. 6 classes, 15 minutes will give you an hour and a half. So we're very excited about that. Now, we worked hard all summer. Our custodians have worked hard all summer to make sure that we were ready for in-person instruction. We made the classes small, about 15, 16 students. We have stickers on the ground to make sure students are on those to socially distance. We are requiring masks. We have, water filler stations. We have a lot of things in place to make sure students are safe. However, since we're starting with e-learning, on September 1st, we're gonna focus on that today, touch on the other things, but really focus on our e-learning. A couple important notes: if your son or daughter cannot get in front of that camera during e-learning and they are so sick they can't do that, make sure you call the attendance line and tell us that they can't make it. Also, when they log into Zoom, make sure we see their exciting smiling faces ready for school so that we can count them as present. We like to see them just like we would in school. We'd see them in their seat. We want to see them on Zoom so that they're ready to learn and we're ready to teach. Another thing I want to show you, your son or daughter is going to get something that looks like this. I have Mr. Rediterio's son, Rocco. Here's an example of his. So if you notice, it looks just like the regular schedule. We have the period, the time, the class, the teacher, and the Zoom link. That's what I added on there. So it's going to be very easy to follow along where they're going to be going next. Now, if you notice, he has band. Not everyone has to take a music, but he has band. And in 7th grade, they're C days. In 8th grade, they're D days. So in 8th grade, once a week for one period, unfortunately, it's a short amount of time, once a week for one period, they're going to be taking their music class if they so choose to. And you can see that between each period, we have a 15-minute break. Okay, so it's a 45-minute class with a 15-minute break. Give students the opportunity to stretch their legs, take a walk, grab something to eat, whatever the case may be, so they can be ready to go when they come back. Also, there is a 30-minute lunch here right after 4th period, before 5th period, and then their day will be done at 2 o'clock. So they will be getting this tomorrow. And this will, hold on one second. They'll be getting this tomorrow and through Google Docs, and also an email to parents as well. So right now, I want to hand it over to Mr. Awad, and he is going to talk to you about music. All right, Mr. Awad, go ahead.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Grodick, and good afternoon to everybody, parents and students. It's so awesome to get to see you again. We look forward to getting to continue to make music with you again this year. Like Mr. Grodick just told you, it is going to look a little bit different this year. The schedule is down to 1 day a week for us in music class. So it's going to be important that you know when that does happen, so that way we can make sure that you're in class on the right days. And if you play an instrument, you have your instrument at school on the right days. Before I give you a little bit of an overview, I do want to introduce our music teachers. For those of you who had band, I look forward to getting to see you again in band. Mr. Allen and I will both get to work with you this year a little bit. Teaching strings again this year will be Mrs. Singler. Mrs. Singler, can you say hi so everybody can see you?
Hi, guys.
So the string students will get to work with Mrs. Singler again. And those of you that are going to be in the choir this year are going to be fortunate. We're going to meet our new music teacher now. We're lucky to have Mr. Novak with us this year. He's going to join our music staff, and he's going to introduce himself right now. But we all welcome Mr. Novak. I know we're virtually, but we'll just give him a little.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see you.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Novak. And for those of you taking choir, you'll get to be with him this year. And like I said, we're looking forward to getting to work with all of you this year in music class. But here's the most important thing you got to know at this point. Mr. Grodick showed you how to look down your schedule and follow the periods. So on those days that you have music class, you will go and click on the link and you can kind of just follow it down. So whatever other special class you won't have that day when you have music. So that's how you'll follow that. The other thing is which day of the week. He said it's a D day. So he's going to pull it up here and show you. So you're going to, hopefully you'll get a calendar that looks like this. And the 8th grade, you're in blue there. And you're on the D days. So the first week, you'll be on September 4th. That's the day that we'll see you. It's Friday. After that, it's kind of on a rotation. So you're just going to follow along in that calendar, and that's the first month to get you through it. And as long as we don't have any schedule changes, you'll basically be on Mondays for the most part. So that's the most important thing. So make sure if we are in person, that you have all the materials you need on that day. But when we're virtual, get yourself ready to go. And I'd recommend for all your classes, get yourself set up so that you have a place that you can sing or play or do whatever you need to do. And if your parents are on a call, that we can still be able to make music and do that. The other thing is anything that you need to know about music, all of us have a handbook that we're going to post in Google Classroom and email out to the parents and kids to look through. And that's going to have information about the classes as well as give you some information on some safety protocols that we're going to try to put in place should we be in person to help keep the kids as safe as possible under the circumstances that we're in. So check out that handbook. That should all be online. The other thing that we're going to ask is that kids, you've done an awesome job throughout the years. You're going to become our leaders in the music program now. We're just going to ask that you step it up since we're going to have a lot less time in class now. We're going to ask that you do some work on your own so that we can still, because we want to have you have successful music careers here and finish them off strong in 8th grade. And if we're able to perform, we're going to certainly do that in person. But if we can't do that, we have some ideas for virtual options and other things that we're definitely going to be looking into doing. And we're going to tell you about that in music class. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to contact us. Our contact information's up there. A lot of you have known us for a number of years now, so please do that. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Thanks, all.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, music teachers. As you know, since you're in 8th grade already, that is an incredible benefit to our school. Our music program is absolutely great. They sound great, and the teachers work very hard. All right. First up, we're going to go to the teachers now of the Mrs. Sheehan block. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to get started. All right. Let's see that, if I can pull that up. All right, Mrs. Sheehan, take it away.
All right, thanks, Mr. Grodak. Welcome to everybody. Thanks for being here today. We're just going to go through some academic information for our block. And so here we can just kind of forward into the first slide here. And these are the teachers who are in our block. For the most part, Spanish is with Mrs. Hall, but there are some students who also have Mrs. Rademacher. So I included both of those sets of slides on here as well. Go forward. All right, so this is the information for science. All the students will receive a work text, which is a book that you see on your screen right now, and it can be written in. For 8th grade science, there are 3 main parts. Earth science is about 50% of our curriculum, life science about 40%, physical science is about 20%. The book that we use is great because it specifically covers all of the 8th grade standards. So as we go in Ohio, so as we go through the book throughout the year, we are definitely prepared if there is an OST exam being given in the spring, which is questionable right now, but if it is, it will be on April 21st and 22nd. And as we go through the year, the students will use that same book. They can write in it, they can take notes, they can highlight the vocabulary, and the book also has an online component. And so the online version has digital labs, because we won't be able to do labs in class. So it has digital labs, it has digital lessons, practice quizzes, and other things with the online version. Next slide. Yeah. So the grading in here is basically homework every night, a little bit, maybe about 20 minutes worth. And it's a total point system so that it's all of the points that a student obtains divided by the total points that it was possible to obtain. So nothing is weighted. In other words, everything is of equal value. For communication, we highly encourage your student to look on PowerSchool often in case there is an input mistake by myself, or if they're missing or late assignments, so the students learn to take ownership of that and they are keeping up with their, what's due in our class. Mrs. Budzik and I, Mrs. Budzik is the other science teacher on the other block, we work completely in sync. That is, we do the same lessons every day. We give the same assessments. We give the same homework. So if Mrs. Budzik or I should get ill, it's a seamless transition between the two of us. And you'll see both of our contact information is on the bottom of this slide. So please feel free to write if you have any concerns about anything that I've just mentioned. Thank you.
I guess I'm up next. This is Mrs.
You're up.
Russell. Thank you so much, parents and students, for coming today. I wanted to share with you my very first year in Bay Schools was in 1990. I was a long-term sub at the high school for teaching math. So that is your first math assignment. How many years have I been teaching in Bay? I also wanted to share with you that when I started at the middle school, after I moved here from the high school, there were 3 computers total in the entire building. And now we have every teacher with a device and every student with a device. And it's what's going to make our learning this year possible, no matter whether we're in school or we're out of school. So I just want to thank our administration and our board members and the community for getting us to that point with technology. So speaking of supplies, this is a great segue to tell you that even though we have our computers, we still need for math some really special traditional supplies. Since we're at home, the students are going to need a ruler, a protractor, a calculator. Pencils or a highlighter would be optional, but just like science, our students are going to write in our new book program books this year. So we want them to have all the tools that they can use to express their learning and make it interesting. And then of course, scissors. And when we come back to school, hopefully really soon, they're also going to need to bring those supplies with them because we can't share supplies this year. So if you have any trouble getting those supplies, just let me know and I'd be happy to loan some to your student. Next slide, Mr. Grodick. So one of the things, new components of our new math program is the Mathia software. And it is an artificial intelligence that meets the students where they are, and we can monitor their progress as they go. And just so parents know, this is something that we're going to be doing always in class. So you're not going to have to support your students with the software. We're going to be doing that with them maybe once or twice a week. Next slide, Mr. Grodick. Finally, we do use weighted grades in math. We really want to emphasize mastery so that our assessments and quizzes will be the bulk of the grade. The Mathia is going to be 15% of the grade, and then classwork homework 10%, so that we can monitor student progress. Just like science, 15 to 30 minutes of homework a night. I want to make sure you guys understand, parents, that it's my job to teach your kids math, not your job. My email is always available for you for support and for the students to get support, but we'll be doing live instruction every day. So if you have any concerns, I'm here to support you, but your kids should be working independently on their own this year. All right, thanks. Next up.
You're muted, Mrs. Altieri. Can't hear you.
Back, good. Back, am I there? Yep, it's perfect, sorry. Okay, so again, I'm Mrs. Altieri. I will be your child's 8th grade language arts teacher there. I have written you just a brief overview of the big ideas of the things that we cover, so I'm just gonna go ahead and read what I've written. This course will present students with opportunities to grow as readers and writers through thoughtfully constructed lessons that focus on the skills associated with reading and writing, as well as placing an emphasis on increasing the sophistication of both processes. We will read literary and informational texts, and our main areas of focus will be, but are not limited to, integrating knowledge and integrating knowledge and ideas, I think it says under there, and examining the craft and structure of text, like text structure is what that means, determining key ideas, exploring language conventions and use, as well as understanding vocabulary and figurative language. And then as writers, we'll plan, revise, edit, and publish using specific writing types. We will write persuasive, informative, explanatory, and narrative pieces. And we will also practice speaking and listening skills as appropriate to context and use. But I didn't include points in mine, I'm sorry, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add that. My course is also a result of total points. The grades are not weighted. And if your students have homework, you can also expect, like the other courses, that it would be about 20 minutes. And for my class, that would be mostly limited to reading. Thank you. Mr. Kralik?
All right. My slides deal with 8th grade social studies this year. We cover nearly 400 years worth of material in the 36 weeks that we have during the school year. We start in the late 1400s with European exploration. We go through 13 colonies, the American Revolution, Declaration of Independence, and the big one this year is going to be the Constitution and government. Obviously, it's an election year, so your kids will do quite a bit with the election, understand the Electoral College, number of electoral votes that each state has, the ins and outs of those different types of things. So it should be a fun and interesting year with regards to that. It's something to get excited about because really, truthfully, they only get to do it once every 4 years. And there may be some of your kids that if they're 14, the next time there is a presidential election in 2024, would be able to vote. So it's good for them to get that information this year. After that, we jump into early presidencies, sectionalism, the Civil War, and Reconstruction. So we cover a lot of information this year, but it's a fun year. And the year starting off will present a lot of challenges, but in social studies, we'll try to present it virtually as close to we can as we would in person as well. When you guys get together in class, there'll be some direct instruction, some videos. We'll also have breakout groups where you'll work with kids that you may or may not normally get to work with and stuff like that. So we want to keep you guys engaged with each other, engage with me, engage with the material. So, you know, it's a different start to the year, but an exciting one nonetheless. When you guys tomorrow will be getting your brown bags to pick up, 2 things that you should look for. One, there is a textbook for social studies that will be in there. They are old. They are beat up, but history, fortunately for us, has not changed too much, the areas that we cover. And then a second thing is a packet where you're going to get like a little syllabus, and there's a signature sheet on it. If you can sign that and bring it in, you know, whenever we start school, that is fine. And then we'll talk Monday when your kids come in, but there's a little link to Google Classroom for kids to join, and then 2 other worksheets that they'll use next week as well. So Mr. Grodick, if you could hit the next slide, that would be great. The textbook, like we said, there unfortunately is not an online version of this textbook, but they will receive a textbook, a hard copy of it to be able to use.
and pages that they'll need will be listed in the classroom to read and take notes from and things like that. As far as grading goes, total points earned divided by total points possible will give you your grade. In communication, just make sure you're checking weekly to see if there are any assignments that are missing late. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me directly. I'm in usually, I've got 3 kids at the middle school now. So I'm usually in by 7 or 7:30 and a little bit of time to answer questions and reply to emails, and then the same thing at the end of the day as well. So I'm looking forward to a great year. Hopefully everybody will be in class soon enough. But until then, just make the most of the opportunity that you're given. I know it's not ideal for everybody, but it's something that I think maybe you'll be able to learn from and look back at some point in life and be like, man, I can't believe that we went through that and did that. But just make the best of it. And we really, really do look forward to meeting all you guys soon enough.
Buenos dias, bonjour. I'm Mrs. Hall. I had most of you guys in 6th grade and the French kids in 7th grade. This year, I will be teaching both French and Spanish 1 in the Sheehan block. On the next slide, you're going to see an interactive classroom where I have created links for you to go and find out some fun things. Where if you see the clock, that's where you can listen to a video of how to tell time in French. Then there's a beautiful Eiffel Tower out of the window, and you can click on that and listen to a song about Paris. There's 3 famous books written by famous French authors, and I put a movie trailer link with those. So just something fun to do that we're going to roll out and do on Monday when the kids meet with me for 15 minutes. Spanish students also have a virtual classroom very similar to that. The next slide I want to show you how I'm setting up my Google Classroom so you know where to find the assignments and everything. A lot of times it was really difficult last year. So on the left-hand side, you see that there is a tab that says classwork. I'm going to put all the assignments under the classwork tab by week and by day. So the streaming will only be basically for announcements. On the right-hand side, you see I have set up some how-to videos. For example, how to put accent marks on your documents online. It's really helpful. There's other important links. You see the link with the moving arrows at the bottom. That's where I'm going to actually have a schedule where you can ask for extra help anytime. You can schedule it on a Google Calendar with me. If the times on the calendar don't work with your schedule, I'll be happy to incorporate other times to work with you. I want everybody to be successful. On the next slide, you're going to see kind of some strategies for being successful in a foreign language classroom. Use the online resources that we have. There's so many great ones, and they're so helpful. Other things, parents, if you can reinforce, or students, reinforce speaking out loud at home every day, at least something. Tell your parents what you've learned that day. Speak in French or Spanish out loud. If your parents say, what have you learning? Try to remember 5 to 10 words or topics that we've talked about, and just talk about those at home. Grades are going to be updated basically every week on PowerSchool, and it's a point-based system. On the next slide, I do want to remind you guys that French and Spanish 1 count as the school credit next year. So it's very important that you keep up with your assignments and keep up with your classwork. And if there's ever any time that you need help, I'm always here and available for you. Here's my email contact information and the Zoom link for making appointments. For the language classes, not only are we going to learn reading, writing, speaking, and listening, but we're also going to be learning about culture as well in both French and Spanish. So I want to wish you buena suerte y bonne chance. Good luck this year. I look forward to meeting you in person, and I look forward to starting at least the class with you on September 1st. But I'll see you Monday for an intro. Au revoir and adios.
So Mr. Grodek and parents and families, the next few slides are Ms. Rademacher's slides, and they do cover what, her Spanish class However, she is on the other block, so she is in a different meeting right now. So we just included these. So if you have Mrs. Rademacher or Ms. Rademacher, I'm sorry, in your schedule, you can read through the criteria for her class. So this is like the next 3 or 4 slides.
All right. So here's all that, and you can access this through the website, correct? All right, Mr. Lackey, I think, is up next.
Yes, hi parents and students. I'm Mr. Lackey. So I'm the intervention specialist, or one of the intervention specialists in 8th grade. So I will be in some of your students' math, language arts, science, or social studies class. So they might see me in there. And then in addition to that, I teach cultures class. So what is cultures? What do we do? So we explore a variety of cultures from around the world while reinforcing reading and writing skills. So we'll explore the food, the art, the customs, history, famous landmarks of a few different countries this year. Grades are pretty basic, point system, combination of class activities, projects, and then there's a participation component and presentations and those sorts of things that we will do in my cultures class as well. If you're in any class with me, need help, by all means, email me. That's the best way to get a hold of me. And that's all I have.
All right, Mr. Brewer.
I had to find the unmute button. Well, hi, everybody. Coming to you straight from my office in the luxurious boys' locker room. So here's some stuff for phys ed. It's obviously going to look a little different for us this year, but here's some expectations that we have. The kids need to have comfortable clothes and athletic shoes every day, even when we're these first 2 weeks when we're on our Zoom. They're going to be moving, so we need to find a space where they can be, have a chance to move around and be active. So we don't want them just sitting on in a chair. They're going to have to maybe set up their laptop on a table on a chair somewhere and get to an open space and be ready to move and follow along with some of the stuff that we're doing. You'll be expected to participate in all of our activities and be logged in just like every other class. Be logged in on time every single day, just like if you were coming to class, you had to be here on time. So what is it going to look like? Well, for the e-learning time, it's going to be a little bit more fitness-based. Some of it's going to be teacher-led. Some of it might even be student-led. There might be some videos that we pop on, like share our screen and have you kind of go through a video. And then there might be some independent work, which would be stuff that you would do and it's not right in front of the camera. So it wouldn't be homework. It'd be something that you would do during our 45-minute class. We'd like get you off the camera, go do something, and then bring you back on. We're kind of playing around with that right now. And then hopefully as soon as possible, we'll get you back in. And it's going to look a little bit more like the normal class if you have had us before. I know there's probably a number of you 8th graders that we did not have last year. So we're looking forward to getting you back and any of you new students. There's, of course, going to be some fitness involved in that, but we can finally, when we get back in person, start getting back into some of the games and sports that goes along with the stuff that we do in 8th grade, a lot of the fun stuff that we do. So looking forward to seeing everybody.
All right, thanks, Mr. Brewer.
All right, and this last slide from Mrs. Van Nieuwhouse and Mrs. Abdul, this is at some point during the year, 8th graders will be in technology and family consumer sciences, but that looks like it's going to be the second half of the year. Is that right, Mr. Grodek?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. The one last thing I wanted to mention, and I forgot to mention it earlier, is that our team will be sending home a weekly sort of at-a-glance email. And that at-a-glance email will give an overview of any, upcoming assignment dates or the homework that's due in each class over the course of the week. So I'll be emailing that home every Sunday night, like around 6 o'clock or so. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Sheehan, and thank you, team. This is a team of awesome teachers. It's going to be a great school year. Again, we have a great group of kids coming up. I know it's going to be challenging in the beginning with some e-learning, but the teachers have been working very hard to make it a very memorable and valuable experience. Just a couple of reminders. Again, if I could share my screen here again. Let's see. Student supply pickup, 8th grade, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the main entrance doors. And then if you cannot get there for that, 4 to 6 p.m. at the main entrance doors. Student and teacher meet and greet Monday, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. You're just going to follow your schedule, and 15 minutes each. And again, that schedule looks like this. You're going to be getting that via Google Docs. This is going to be a great school year. A couple questions that I got. How important is it to have all the supplies on the list, especially with a remote start? Are there any teachers that want to answer that question? How important are supplies even with the remote start? And just so if you have supplies, if you have your math supplies, I would make sure you have those. A lot of them have been from previous years. Get the ones when you come in person, make sure you have those supplies. But at home, try to have as many as you can to get ready. The older you get, it seems like the less amount of scissors and colored markers and colored pencils, that you need less of that stuff, but it's still important that you have it. Another good question: will there be paper handouts where we may need to print at home, or will all homework be conducted online? This is a very this group of teachers, as you heard, is going to use Google Classroom. They're going to use a lot of online stuff. We will not make you print things out at your home computer. If there's printing things, you can pick it up at the school. We're going to have those pickups at school, the first one being tomorrow. And if we continue e-learning, we'll have more throughout the semester or throughout the quarter to pick those things up. So you don't have to print anything out at home. Don't worry about that. And how will your child raise your hand? How will my child raise their hand in your class? That's going to be like each individual teacher might do it differently, just like they do in their regular class. So sometimes you might use that raise your hand button, that function, and other times you might just physically raise your hand and the teacher could see you. The teacher's going to find a groove and a rhythm and get comfortable with it. So thank you for the questions. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask. These teachers, besides you, they're your child's biggest advocate. They love kids. They've been doing it for a long time. And I believe, and I know we're going to have a great school year. Thank you so much, 8th graders, leaders of our school. Thank you, teachers. Thank you, parents. We will see you on Monday for that meet and greet.